learn to think correctly, that is the greatest discipline, the highest mastery, and the key to living a life of clarity and power. Most people believe their struggles come from the world outside of them. Circumstances, other people, money, health, luck. But the truth is far sharper, far deeper. It is not the world that traps you, it is the way you think about it. Your life is a mirror reflecting the state of your mind. If your mind is in chaos, your life will appear chaotic. If your mind is filled with weakness, you will see weakness everywhere you look. But if you learn to think correctly, the same problems that once seemed impossible will bow before your strength. You must understand this: the mind is a weapon, and like any weapon, it can either protect you or destroy you. Most people carry their mind like a blade pointed at themselves. They cut themselves with worry. They stab themselves with fear. They bleed themselves with doubt. And then they wonder why they feel powerless. But a master learns to turn the blade outward, to wield it with precision, to cut through lies, illusions, and weakness. When you think correctly, your mind stops being your enemy and becomes your greatest ally. Thinking correctly does not mean thinking positively in a shallow way. It does not mean repeating words like a parrot while your heart trembles. It means seeing reality as it is and choosing the most powerful response. It means knowing when to act and when to be still. It means not being controlled by your emotions, but controlling your emotions through wisdom. It means training your thoughts like a soldier trains his body until they move with discipline, focus, and strength. Ask yourself, who is in control of your mind right now? Is it you, or is it fear? Is it you, or is it anger? Is it you, or is it the opinions of others echoing inside your head? If you cannot master your own thoughts, you will always be a slave to the noise of the world. Look around you. How many people do you see chasing after success, but inside they are full of doubt? How many seek love, but inside they believe they are unworthy? How many try to look strong, but inside they are ruled by weakness? This is the tragedy of incorrect thinking. No matter what they achieve on the outside, they will sabotage it from the inside. But if you learn to think correctly, even before the outside changes, your inner life becomes unshakable. You become rooted, steady, unmovable, like a great mountain that no storm can topple. Thinking correctly requires training. Just as the body must be disciplined with exercise, food, and rest, so too must the mind be disciplined with focus, truth, and wisdom. Every day thoughts will try to invade you, thoughts of fear, of doubt, of jealousy, of despair. You cannot stop them from knocking at your door, but you can choose not to let them in. A weak thinker opens the door to every visitor and wonders why their house is in chaos. A strong thinker guards the gate, allows in only what serves them, and sends the rest away. This is the discipline you must practice every time a thought arises. Ask yourself, does this thought make me stronger or weaker? Does it bring me closer to peace or closer to fear? Does it push me to grow, or does it chain me to the past? If it weakens you, if it fills you with doubt, if it poisons your spirit, cast it out. Refuse to feed it. Refuse to dwell on it. Because thoughts are seeds. What you water will grow. If you water fear, fear will grow. If you water anger, anger will grow. If you water courage, discipline, and wisdom, these will grow. Your mind is a garden, and you are the gardener. Do not let weeds overrun your soil. Do you see how powerful this is? Every master, every warrior, every leader who ever rose above mediocrity had to first learn how to think. They did not allow their minds to be driven by every passing wind. They chose their thoughts as carefully as a craftsman chooses his tools. That is why they became unshakable. That is why others could not control them. That is why they became free. You must also see this truth. Most people suffer more in imagination than in reality. Their incorrect thinking magnifies pain until it becomes unbearable. A small problem becomes a giant in their minds. A simple challenge becomes a nightmare. They are crushed not by the weight of life itself, but by the weight of their own distorted thinking. But when you think correctly, you see clearly, you strip the problem of its illusions. You deal with reality as it is, not as your fears paint it to be. And suddenly, what looked impossible becomes manageable. What looked terrifying becomes simple. What looked like the end becomes the beginning. When you walk through life without learning to think correctly, you become like a ship without a rudder. The winds of the world will toss you wherever they please. One day you are carried by excitement, the next day you sink in despair. One word from another person can destroy your peace. One setback can shatter your confidence. But the one who has trained his mind, the one who has disciplined his thinking, becomes like a ship with a strong captain. The winds may blow, but he knows where he is going. The waves may rise, but he does not lose his course. Thinking correctly is not natural. If it were, everyone would live with peace, focus, and clarity. But look around you, confusion is everywhere. People are enslaved by their own opinions. They are poisoned by comparison. They are addicted to thoughts that destroy their spirit. They live in prisons built not of iron, but of ideas, and they hold the keys in their hands, but do not know how to use them. So you must understand, this is not something that happens by chance. To think correctly requires effort. It requires training, repetition, and discipline. Just as a fighter does not step into the ring without preparation, you cannot expect to win the battles of life without preparing your mind. Every day, you must sharpen your awareness. Every day, you must observe your thoughts. Every day, you must challenge lies with truth. This is how you build mental strength. Do you know why so many people quit halfway? Why so many lose hope before reaching the summit of their dreams? It is because they never learned how to guard their mind. Their thoughts whispered to them, "You can't do it. You are not good enough. You will fail." And instead of rejecting those voices, they believed them. They fed them. They obeyed them. And so their life became a reflection of their incorrect thinking. But hear me, your thoughts are not your master unless you allow them to be. You can decide what you will dwell on. You can decide what you will feed. You can decide what you will reject. Thinking correctly is choosing truth over lies, strength over weakness, courage over fear. It is training yourself to recognize when the voice in your head is not reality, but only an echo of your doubts. And when you learn this, you become free. Free from the prison of fear, free from the chains of insecurity, free from the opinions of others. Think about it. How many times has your life been limited not by what is real, but by what you told yourself? How many opportunities have you ignored because your mind convinced you that you were not ready? How many blessings have you missed because you chose to dwell on what could go wrong instead of what could go right? Correct thinking opens doors. Incorrect thinking slams them shut. Correct thinking builds bridges. Incorrect thinking burns them down. Correct thinking lifts you up like wings. Incorrect thinking ties stones to your feet. The greatest warriors in life are not those with the strongest bodies, but those with the clearest minds. A body without discipline is weak, But a mind without discipline is dangerous. With an undisciplined mind, you can have everything and still feel empty. With a disciplined mind, you can have little and still feel rich. Most people do not realize that every thought they allow into their mind is shaping their destiny. A thought is not just a momentary spark. It is a seed. And if you let it stay, if you feed it, if you water it with your attention, it will grow roots, it will grow branches, and soon it will bear fruit. That fruit will either nourish you or poison you. If you let fear grow, your life will bear fear. If you let courage grow, your life will bear courage. If you let doubt grow, your life will bear failure. If you let faith grow, your life will bear strength. So tell me, what kind of garden are you planting inside your mind? If you have not trained yourself to think correctly, your mind will become overrun with weeds. Jealousy will grow like thorn bushes. Bitterness will spread like wild vines. Laziness will creep in like shade that blocks the sun. Before long, your spirit will be choked and you will wonder why life feels so heavy. But if you discipline your thinking, if you guard your thoughts, if you choose what to plant, then your mind will become a place of peace, clarity, and strength. From it will flow actions of power, words of wisdom, and a life of direction. Understand this: correct thinking is not about ignoring reality. It is about seeing it clearly. Many people believe that thinking correctly means pretending problems do not exist. No, thinking correctly means acknowledging reality but refusing to be destroyed by it. It is standing in the middle of the storm and saying, yes, the winds are strong, yes, the rain is heavy, but I will not be moved. It is refusing to allow your emotions to exaggerate reality. It is refusing to allow your fears to paint a picture darker than the truth. For example, when most people fail, they say to themselves, "This means I am a failure." That is incorrect thinking. Correct thinking says, "This attempt failed, but I am not a failure. I have learned something that will make me stronger next time." Do you see the difference? One thought locks you in chains, the other sets you free. When most people are rejected, they think, "I am not good enough." That is incorrect thinking. Correct thinking says, "This door was closed, but there are other doors, and perhaps this one was not meant for me." One thought destroys your confidence, the other preserves your hope. When most people face a challenge, they think, "This is impossible." That is incorrect thinking. Correct thinking says, "This is difficult, but with discipline and persistence, I will overcome it." One thought kills action, the other fuels it. Thinking correctly is not about avoiding struggle. It is about facing it with the right perspective. It is about refusing to surrender to weakness. It is about training your mind to be your servant, not your master. Ask yourself, how much of your life has been stolen by incorrect thinking? How many times have you been trapped in fear before anything even happened? How many times have you been paralyzed by doubt even when you had the ability to succeed? How many times have you believed the voice of weakness when the voice of strength was waiting for you to listen? Do not allow another day to pass living as a prisoner of your own thoughts. Train your mind like a warrior trains his body. Watch your thoughts. Guard them. Replace weakness with strength. Replace doubt with faith. Replace despair with determination. This is not something that happens overnight, but with practice, it becomes your nature. You must begin to notice the pattern of your thinking. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thought that enters your mind? When you face a challenge, what is the first story you tell yourself? When you meet failure, what meaning do you give it? These are the moments where your destiny is decided. The event itself does not define you. It is your interpretation of the event, your thought about it, that defines your future. A storm comes. One person thinks, this is the end. Another person thinks, this is my chance to grow stronger. The storm is the same. The difference is in the thinking. One crumbles, the other rises. Pain comes. One person thinks, life is against me. Another person thinks, life is shaping me. The pain is the same. The difference is in the thinking. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wise. Failure comes. One person thinks, I am worthless. Another person thinks, I am learning. The failure is the same. The difference is in the thinking. One stops walking, the other keeps climbing. Do you see? Life is not what happens to you. Life is how you think about what happens to you. And that is why you must learn to think correctly. You cannot control the world. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control what people do or say. But you can control your thoughts. And when you control your thoughts, you control your inner world. And when you control your inner world, the outer world loses its power over you. This is why the strongest people are often the calmest. This is why the most disciplined minds are the most peaceful. They do not waste energy fighting battles inside themselves. They have mastered their thoughts, and so their energy is directed outward with precision. But those who do not think correctly, those who allow their thoughts to control them, live in constant conflict. They are fighting inside themselves all day. They are exhausted, not because life is too heavy, but because their thoughts are too loud. The greatest illusion you must break is the belief that you are powerless over your mind. People say, I cannot help what I think. Thoughts just come. Yes, thoughts will come, but you are not forced to entertain them. A bird may land on your shoulder, but you do not have to let it build a nest. A shadow may cross your path, but you do not have to walk in darkness. Thoughts are visitors, some noble, some destructive. You decide who stays. This is the art of thinking correctly, to recognize a thought for what it is, not for what it pretends to be. Fear will disguise itself as caution. Doubt will disguise itself as logic. Anger will disguise itself as justice. You must have the clarity to see through the disguise. You must have the discipline to ask, does this thought serve me or does it enslave me? Most people live by default, not by decision. Their thoughts control them instead of them controlling their thoughts. They are like leaves blown around by the wind, drifting wherever circumstance takes them. But you must not live like a leaf. You must live like a tree. A tree does not run from the wind. A tree does not change direction with every storm. A tree stands rooted, unmovable, drawing strength from deep within the soil. And when the storm passes, the tree is still there. This is what happens when you train your mind to think correctly. You become rooted. The world can shout, but you do not lose your center. People can betray you, but you do not lose your peace. Circumstances can change, but you do not lose your direction. You stand. You endure, you grow. But let me warn you, thinking correctly is not the easy path. The easy path is to let your thoughts run wild. The easy path is to complain. The easy path is to dwell on your pain. The easy path is to feed your fears. But the easy path leads to a hard life. If you choose the harder path, the path of discipline, the path of correct thinking, you will find that life becomes easier. Because once your mind is strong, no challenge can break you. Once your thoughts are clear, no lie can deceive you. Once your perspective is correct, no storm can overwhelm you. Correct thinking is not a trick, it is a lifestyle. It is a way of meeting life with strength instead of weakness. It is refusing to be carried by emotions that are temporary and instead anchoring yourself to truths that are eternal. So when fear comes, think correctly. Fear is only a shadow. It has no substance unless I give it one. When failure comes, think correctly. Failure is not permanent. It is the foundation on which I build my strength. When rejection comes, think correctly. This does not reduce my value. It redirects me toward where I truly belong. When pain comes, think correctly. This pain is shaping me into someone who can endure greater things. When delay comes, think correctly. This is not the end. It is preparation. The waiting is building my patience. Do you see? Correct thinking transforms the way you experience life. The same event that breaks one person becomes the stepping stone for another. The difference is not in the event. The difference is in the thinking. But to think correctly, you must practice every day. You cannot wait until the storm arrives to build your shelter. You must build it in advance. You must train your mind in the small moments so that you are strong in the great battles. When a negative thought comes, do not wait until it grows roots. Catch it early, replace it quickly, refuse to feed it. Just as a fire starts with a spark, so does despair. But if you put out the spark, the fire will never consume you. Every day, begin by setting your thoughts in the right direction. Speak strength into your mind. Remind yourself of who you are and what you are capable of. Guard the first moments of your morning because they set the pattern for your day. If you begin in weakness, weakness will grow. If you begin in strength, strength will grow. And at night, before you sleep, examine your thoughts again. Do not let anger travel with you into tomorrow. Do not let bitterness rest in your soul overnight. Clear your mind. Train it as a warrior sharpens his sword. Clean, polish, prepare. This is how you keep your thinking correct. Remember this truth. The world outside you is noisy, but the world inside you decides your destiny. Many are lost not because they lacked opportunities, but because they lacked clarity. Many are defeated not because life was too hard, but because their thoughts were too weak. Many live small not because they had no potential, but because they never trained their mind to see beyond their limits. But you are different. You are listening now. You are aware now. You have heard the call to master your mind, to rise above the chaos, to think correctly. And if you accept this discipline, your life will change. Not in small ways, but in great ways. You will walk through life with a calmness that others cannot understand. You will face challenges with a courage that others cannot explain. You will rise from failures with a strength that others cannot break. Your thoughts are the architects of your future. Build them wisely, guard them carefully, train them daily, and you will discover that the power to transform your life has been within you all along, inside your own mind. When you finally understand that your life is a reflection of your thoughts, something powerful happens. You stop blaming the world and start taking responsibility. You stop saying, if only people treated me differently, I would be happy. If only circumstances were better, I would succeed. That is the language of weakness, the language of incorrect thinking. Correct thinking says, I cannot control them, but I can control myself. I cannot stop the storm, but I can strengthen my ship. I cannot silence every critic, but I can choose which voice I believe. Do you see the shift? This is freedom. When you wait for the world to change, you will wait forever. But when you change the way you think, the whole world begins to change. Not because reality is different, but because your perception is different. What once looked like a wall becomes a door. What once looked like an ending becomes a beginning. What once looked like an enemy becomes a teacher. And this is the truth. The strongest people are not those who have the easiest lives. They are those who have faced storms, betrayal, hardship, and pain. But instead of letting those experiences poison their thinking, they use them to sharpen their perspective. They learn to think correctly, and so their suffering did not destroy them, it transformed them. You will face moments when your mind wants to give in to despair. You will face days when the voice of weakness seems louder than the voice of strength. But in those moments, you must remember you are the one who decides which voice to feed. A lion fed grows strong, a lion starved grows weak. If you feed fear, fear will roar louder. If you feed courage, courage will rise up and take its place. So train yourself to pause. Train yourself to question your thoughts before believing them. Just because a thought enters your mind does not mean it deserves your agreement. A soldier does not let every stranger enter the camp. He checks, he guards, he protects. Do the same with your mind. Ask yourself, is this thought building me or breaking me? Is it guiding me toward truth or dragging me into illusion? Is it making me stronger or weaker? If it does not serve your strength, cast it out. And let me tell you something, correct thinking is not cold or emotionless. It is alive, it is powerful, it is full of passion, but it is not ruled by chaos. It is guided by wisdom. The disciplined mind still feels pain, but it does not drown in it. The disciplined mind still faces fear, but it walks forward anyway. The disciplined mind still encounters anger, but it does not let anger rule its actions. This is mastery, not to live without emotions, but to rise above being enslaved by them. Do not underestimate the small choices. Every day, every moment, you are shaping your future by the thoughts you allow. A single negative thought entertained long enough becomes a belief. A belief becomes an action. An action becomes a habit. A habit becomes your destiny. But the same is true of positive thoughts. Guard them, nurture them, let them grow into beliefs of strength, actions of courage, habits of discipline, and a destiny of greatness. When you learn to think correctly, people will notice. They will see that while others panic, you remain calm. While others complain, you keep moving. While others give up, you stand strong. They may not understand it, but they would feel it. And some will be inspired by your clarity, while others will be threatened by it. Do not be surprised. When you rise above the noise, those who are still trapped in it may resent you. But that too is a test of your thinking. Do not allow their confusion to weaken your clarity. Thinking correctly does not mean you will never fall, but it means you will never stay down. Thinking correctly does not mean life will always be easy, but it means life will never defeat you. Thinking correctly does not mean you will never feel fear, but it means fear will never rule your decisions. You are stronger than you think, but to discover that strength, you must align your mind with truth, discipline, and wisdom. And the moment you do, you will realize the prison door was never locked. You were free all along. You only needed to change the way you think. Every moment of your life, your mind is speaking to you. It whispers when you are alone. It shouts when you are afraid. It argues when you try to be still. If you do not guide it, it will guide you. If you do not command it, it will command you. And A mind without command is like a wild horse. It will throw you off and drag you into places you never intended to go. But when you train that horse, when you put a firm hand on the reins, suddenly the power that once threatened to destroy you now carries you forward with incredible speed. This is the difference between a mind undisciplined and a mind disciplined. Both are powerful. Both are capable of shaping your life. But only one will carry you to freedom. The other will drag you into chains. You must understand this. Every thought you allow is shaping the person you are becoming. If you think weak, you will live weak. If you think strong, you will live strong. If you think like a victim, you will remain a victim. If you think like a victor, you will rise above every battle. The world is filled with people who never discover their strength because they never learn to think correctly. They chase after things outside themselves, money, status, approval, believing these will bring them peace. But without correct thinking, even when they get what they wanted, they still feel empty. Why? Because peace is not found outside, it is born inside. And the birthplace of peace is the mind. So do not say, I will be happy when things change. Say instead, I will think correctly now, and happiness will flow from within me regardless of what changes. Do not say, I will be confident when people believe in me. Say, I will think correctly now, and my confidence will not depend on anyone else. Do not say, I will be strong when life becomes easy. Say, I will think correctly now, and strength will grow within me even in the hardest times. This is the essence of freedom, to no longer wait for the outside to give you what you already possess on the inside. But remember, the world will test you. It will throw lies at you. It will whisper in your ear, oh, you are not enough, you will never make it. You are too late, you are too broken. If you do not train your mind, you will believe those lies. But if you have learned to think correctly, you will answer them with truth. I am enough. I will make it. I am right on time. I am not broken. I am becoming. Do you see the power of this? It is not about ignoring reality, but about refusing to let lies define your reality. Many people are waiting for a savior to rescue them from their thoughts. They do not realize that the power has already been given to them. The savior is discipline. The rescue is clarity. The path is correct thinking. And here is the beautiful secret. Once you train your mind to think correctly, everything else begins to align. Your actions change. Your habits change. Your relationships change. Because when the root is strong, the branches are healthy. But if the root is poisoned, the fruit will always be bitter. So if your life feels bitter, do not waste time only trimming the branches. Go to the root. Go to the source. Go to your thoughts. Heal them. Strengthen them. Discipline them. And watch as the fruit of your life begins to change. Do not underestimate this. Empires have risen and fallen because of the way people thought. Families have been healed or destroyed because of the way people thought. Dreams have been built or buried because of the way people thought. Thinking correctly is not a small matter. It is life and death, victory and defeat, freedom and slavery. When you learn to think correctly, you begin to see opportunities in what others call problems. You begin to see lessons in what others call failures. You begin to see preparation in what others call setbacks. Thinking correctly doesn't mean denying pain. It means assigning meaning to it. It doesn't mean avoiding challenges. It means recognizing them as teachers. It doesn't mean ignoring negativity. It means refusing to let it take root inside your spirit. Most people are slaves to their own thoughts. They think the same way today as they did yesterday, and they will think the same tomorrow as they do today. And so their lives repeat themselves like a broken record. But you, if you are willing, can break the cycle. You can decide, I will not let old thinking write the script of my future. I will train my mind to serve me, not sabotage me. Do you understand how powerful that decision is? To realize that your mind is not your master, it is your servant. To realize that thoughts are like seeds and you are the gardener. Some seeds will grow into weeds, choking your spirit if you leave them unchecked. But if you learn to plant seeds of courage, discipline, faith and resilience, they will grow into towering trees that will carry you through storms. Correct thinking begins with awareness. Most people don't even notice the constant stream of noise in their minds. Worries, doubts, fears, regrets, thoughts race through their heads like uninvited guests. But a wise person pauses and observes, why am I thinking this? Is this thought lifting me higher or dragging me lower? Is this thought mine, or is it the echo of someone else's fear? The moment you begin to question your thoughts, you begin to take back your power. Imagine if a thief knocked on your door every morning and you opened it willingly, letting him walk inside and steal from you. That is what happens when you accept every negative thought without resistance. You are robbed of peace, of courage, of focus. But if you learn to stand at the door of your mind and guard it fiercely, only letting in thoughts that serve your higher purpose, you will discover an unshakable inner strength. Correct thinking requires discipline. You cannot simply wake up one day and expect all your thoughts to align with truth. Just as a warrior trains his body daily, you must train your mind daily. Feed it with wisdom, with gratitude, with clarity. Starve it of self-pity, of envy, of comparison. When you do, you create an inner fortress that no insult, no failure, no betrayal can destroy. And let me tell you, the world will try to shape your thinking. Society will tell you what success should look like, what happiness should feel like, what value you should measure yourself against. But if you do not think correctly, you will be tossed around by every opinion, every trend, every voice louder than your own. Correct thinking anchors you. It makes you steady in a world that is unstable, calm in a world that is chaotic, free in a world that wants to enslave you. You must learn to think beyond circumstances. The person who thinks correctly says, I am not what happened to me. I am what I decide to become. They say, I am not defined by my environment. I am defined by my vision. They say, the situation is not my identity. My response is my identity. And here is the greatest truth. The mind is a battlefield, but it is one you can win. Every day, you either conquer your thoughts or your thoughts conquer you. Every day you either rise or you sink, not because of what others do to you, but because of what you allow your mind to believe. Now I ask you, will you keep living with untrained thoughts that sabotage your destiny? Or will you rise today and declare, from this moment, I choose to think differently, to think with clarity, with power, with purpose? Because once you make that choice, you will no longer be a victim of your own mind. You will be its master.